Hey everybody, this is a live memory training session and I'm working on name and face recall using Anki and typically adding in memory league. I don't know if I'll be adding that in tonight, but I might be. This is a real study session, so just feel free to study along, hang out quietly, or ask questions in the chat if you want. Coming down with whatever is getting everybody sick, but I ask people to improve their memory by practicing techniques. So I'll be darned if I'm not on here practicing and showing everybody that practice does improve your recall. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I need to sync up my Anki with my computer. So I didn't practice very much earlier today. It has been a very busy day. Just early in the morning before work, and it's been pretty much work since work started early this morning. So now I'm going to open up Anki, make sure I'm all synced up here, and practicing names. So like I said earlier, I think I'm getting kind of sick. I thought maybe it was just like a headache earlier and some congestion just from the weather, but I've kind of cleared that out. It's just like it's the opposite of getting better. So if I sound kind of yucky, then I do apologize. But when I was thinking about whether or not I should stream practice, because I have the opportunity to do that tonight, if I should skip it because I was sick, I was like, this is exactly when I need to be practicing, because I don't like it when people make excuses, and in the future I may be asking people to practice, and I don't want them to be like, well, you skipped it when you were sick. So I'm gonna practice. All right, so this morning we practiced. I posted a short for June. We've got Edward, my image for Richard is Richard Nixon, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but he was president, I think, before I was born. So I've kind of heard him talk in recordings because he has a reputation for, you know, getting in trouble. But I can't think of anything that just like brings me to him, you know, like in a memory kind of way. I could see his face, but I think I probably need to watch some videos of him speaking or something that really draws that memory out and makes it more real. Because right now it's just a face to me, and it's not like I can imagine like I'm pretty sure he was impeached, right, for Watergate. It's not like I can just like imagine Watergate. Like that's like a whole, that's not like a picture, that's like a whole movie. So anyways, I'm just distracting myself from working. Also, fair warning, if my son comes out of his bedroom, I will definitely turn the camera so that we don't accidentally see him, because sometimes he comes out in his underwear because he's in bed. Okay, jar of air. I have to say, I'm going to distract myself so much. This is going to take a long time. I have to say that taking the time to make a video about an individual name, even though it's a short, it does help me spend a little more time with that individual name, and it does make it stick better than if I don't take the time to make a video about something. Generally speaking, there are some images that are just funny to me, like Travis. I visualize traps, and like they're bear traps, and they're all over the face, and they snap, you know. And to me, that is quite visual and a little bit comical to think about, like, I don't know, just a bunch of traps like in a cartoon. Um, but yeah, there's a benefit for sure to creating an image that you can look at and reference, spending time with the name, as opposed to just trying to rush through flashcards as fast as possible. So there's definitely a balance between how much time you spend on an individual card, becoming familiar with it, and putting attention towards memorizing it, and going fast because you want to be super fast. I don't really regret rushing to get these 1,000 flashcards memorized. I think it was a good challenge. Or by memorized, I mean getting through like a first pass. It was a challenge, and I am spending time now going back through and developing speed. But that I think that having that challenge to get through that 1,000, and then seeing that I was building consistency in my performance right after that, was good information for me to know, because I feel like sometimes practicing something like this, where you're trying to improve a skill where you could have thousands of names, like choices of names that you could have to choose from. You've got 1 minute, which means you're going to get a small sample size of a bunch of different options, and it could be different basically every single time. So it's hard to recognize that you're picking up steam if you're only learning like 5 or 10 names per day. Now, the carryover to the real world, of course, is whenever you have to memorize like 5 or 10 names at work, and you've been practicing names like 5 or 10 names a day, and you're not in like this 1 minute to get as many names as you can kind of rush, then yeah, there is real carryover. And you don't have to go as fast. You can spend more time on an individual card, or I say card, an individual name. But for competition reasons, I think that it's harder to see improvement if your metrics for measurement are how much you improve within a minute. I think we probably would all see faster improvement, if you will. The stats would be more in our favor if we had a longer duration, like how many names can you memorize in 10 minutes. Then we would have more time. We'd probably all see bigger gains. But as you shorten the duration of time, then of course you'll shorten the amount of opportunity you have to see that improvement. So, all right, rant is over. I need to get back to work. Don't know why I'm being so distracted tonight, unless it's because I'm getting sick. All right, Jorge, horse eating hay. Out of line. Lion eating water. Some names are easier just to associate with people you know. I think Richard Nixon was a reasonable one, but like if you meet someone named Myrtle and you've thought of Moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter, especially my generation. We kind of grew up with that Harry Potter series. Like, it's way easier than trying to come up with thinking of the ghost Moaning Myrtle floating around is probably the best image that I could come up with Myrtle, as opposed to trying to make Myrtle like that's almost sounds like murder, but or I can't think of anything else. Murky, uh, uh, Myrtle. So like a murder turtle. I don't know. I mean, that probably would work fine. But Moaning Myrtle is what comes to my mind, and so that is probably the easiest thing for me to be able to associate with. Okay, now I'm going to be thinking of a murder turtle. All right. Linda. Julian. Oh, Phyllis. Arthur is another good one. Arthur, the cartoon character, is the best image that I can come up with for myself for someone named Arthur. Or Franklin, the turtle. I think they're distinguished. They're very easy to distinguish between other names, because there's when I think of Franklin, I think of Franklin the turtle. And when I think of Arthur, I think of that Arthur. I don't know a lot of other Franklins and Arthurs personally, so it's really easy for me to imagine, especially because they're cartoons, so they're already they stand out a little bit more than maybe some mundane real life thing. Like if somebody, I'll give you an example. Sometimes someone might be named Mason, and I think of a mason jar. That in and of itself isn't very active. It's like it's a mundane real life jar, and I could try and make it more like colorful and stuff, and make it, I don't know, stand out more in my imagination. But for me, it's easier to add action to that one. So I think of a mason jar being like squished and crushed. That gives it some action, and I'm like, oh, that's glass being crushed when I'm visualizing it and doing the recall. But something that's cartoony for me stands out a little bit more, like Franklin or Arthur. Those guys do. And then I also have Tony the Tiger in my brain for um, someone named Tony, and that also stands out pretty clearly for me. I mean, because how many times have we heard those names before with those characters? It's like if someone was named SpongeBob. It's like, would you use any other name besides the actual image besides the actual SpongeBob? I mean, we've heard that name so many times. It's just like it's almost as concrete as like that's an apple or that's a pin. Anyways, I'm getting distracted again. Jeez. Maybe I'm losing a little bit of my executive functioning here at the end of the day after really focusing on work today and kids after work. I thought I did it. Ah, there's Mason. Look at that. When I came across Jacqueline, I think I said this on another stream, but um, when I think about Jacqueline, I have my image, but part of me wants to make it the scene from Key and Peele where he's like, Jake Quellen, But I know if I do that, then I'm gonna spell it wrong whenever I have to do a response. Fiona is another good one. I think that'd be hard to come up with an image for. I mean, it could do it, but Fiona from Shrek, if you grew up with Shrek, that's also a really easy association, especially because she turns into an ogre. So that's even more distinguishable whenever you're trying to remember names. If you have this lady ogre in like this green dress, you're like, oh, that's Fiona. Oh, granite, yeah, of course. Guillermo, Guillermo, Guillermo. Anyways, one of the images that I haven't made a video for because I'm not sure that it's easy for people that aren't familiar with this to associate. But for Salvador, I think of someone putting salve on a van door, Salvador, and for me, I was like, that's kind of abstract. That's going to be like people are like, what are you talking about? But um, it worked really well the other day when Salvador came up on Memory League, and I had the image of a person like scooping up this like gooey salve and just like or salve. I don't know how it's pronounced, but I probably should look into that. But it works for memory and like wiping. I had the image on the person's teeth because they had like some like their smile, they were very teeth, a lot of teeth going on. So it stuck out to me, and they were wiping salve on the person's teeth, but it was the van in my imagination. Either way, it was very visual for me, and even though that image sounds very busy, it worked pretty well for what I was trying to do. Vernon, Carolina, Betty, Rose, Stanley, Glenn, Opal. One of the. Oh, I'm getting so distracted. All right. Let me see if I can say this with and then keep focusing for longer. One of the images I have is Otis the tractor, and it sticks out to me for an unknown reason, but one of my son's books is about Otis the tractor, and he's asked me to read it. I guess multiple times, but not like when a kid has a favorite book and they want you to read it like 100 times in a row for like 3 months. That's like every day, read this, read this, read this, read this. It was just like a book I've read a couple of times with him, and for some reason that name sticks with me. So that character, Luke. Daryl. One of my biggest fears is that I have recommended an image to you guys with like a short or in a video, and then I myself forget that name. However, that is a fear based out of, it's not a rational fear. It's more like a fear of failure that we all have, because it's like I said to do this, and then what if it doesn't work for other people? And I'm like, I mean, people are like, oh, you lied to me. But to date, I have not failed with any of the things that I have said aloud on YouTube. And you know how sometimes in at like work or something, like, hopefully when you get hired, you know how to do some of the job, or there's a certain expectation, and then sometimes the expectation is you just kind of like go with the flow until you figured it out. Sometimes it's referred to as fake it until you make it, and I don't care for that at all. So one of the things that is like it's just what's going to happen here, even if it like even if it is a constraint on sharing what I've learned on YouTube. I am not going to talk about things that I don't feel confident about. And right now, I'm only talking about things that I am doing myself. Sure, I speculate on some stuff, but I'm pretty clear about that. Um, when I'm like have an idea, but I haven't tried it yet. But that's kind of like one of the constraints, and that makes me feel more genuine when I have control enough of the situation where I can just be like, this is what I know, and I'm happy to tell you when I don't know. And we're not going to get into a debate about um, you know I'm not going to get into an internal debate about like whether or not I should speak on something, because it's very clear. If I do know about it because I've done it, then I can talk about it. If I don't know about it because I haven't tried it, then I won't be talking about it. Or if I don't know about it, period. If I have an idea, I'm happy to share an idea, but make it clear what's an idea. Um, so, dang these rants tonight. All right. Teresa with an H. Teresa with an H in there. Beatrice. Yeah. Donna. Herbert. Colleen. Eloise. A man whistling loudly is Wesley. It's getting windy outside. Dustin. Yolanda. That's funny. So earlier today, I was thinking about memory practice, and a couple days ago, maybe yesterday, Louisa, I had practiced, and I was thinking about how I want it to be very similar to Luis, because I think that's how you pronounce it, Luis. I don't think that's Louis, that's Luis. But, anyways, um, I had on some calls at work, I had a Luis on a vendor call and a Louisa on a separate call. And to be honest with you, before doing memory training, I didn't I didn't pay enough attention to the all the players in the meeting calls. I paid most of the attention to like the people that were hosting it, the project managers, that kind of thing. And it was, I don't know, it was a little bit rewarding to hear or to pay attention and say, oh, I practiced that name, and then also to have an image for it and be like, yeah, I'm not going to forget that person. So see, I got a little bit farther without getting distracted. Julia. Okay. Josephine. Eloise. Andrew. Sergio. Yvonne. Viola. Oh, there's my son. Good night, buddy.
What do you mean? I'm just getting this
You need to be going to bed pretty quick, so go ahead and grab your snack.
No.
I'm gonna mute real quick. We'll do this. Oh.
No. So what do you do?
Make sure that we're back in our room. Okay, sedan crashing into a brick. That's Cedric. Searching. Rosario. Danielle. Table flipping over would be Tabitha with an I. Carol would be Carol. Grating cheese would be Grace. Wheelbarrow. Karen. Enrique. Oh yeah. Jessica. Eleanor. Herbert. Herbs. Herbs. Jasmine. Okay. Kelvin. Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna mute real quick. I apologize for that interruption. So, let's wrap this up before somebody else decides to wake up. Cat wearing a necklace. It's going to start with a K. Kathy. Wanda. Woman covered in white paint. Blanche. Stanley. Alma. Ramon. Lucia. Roland. Ruben. And this one is Reuben. Elena. Natalia. Got it. Lucille. Brad. Javier. Joyce. Bianca. Terrence. Norma. Isaiah. Norman. Elaine. Stella. Okay. Even with that interruption there, still 36 minutes. All my distractions and all my tangents and everything. But this is what studying looks like when you're not feeling good. And to be honest with you, my energy level, I think, went up as I was as I was practicing here. So, anyways, just for the sake of practicing Memory League, I'm going to go ahead and try and do a round. I do not expect you very well. And keep in mind when I say not very well, I'm not saying I'm not going to remember any names, but just that next level. And I don't think I'm probably going to get to the next level tonight, given how my brain's working. Keisha Carroll. See? This was one that I was looking at right towards the end, and I tried to rush it so I could try and get a few more names in. So I have that's the name I'm working on. So I would like to get it though. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to go through the alphabet and see if anything just jogs a memory. So it's not start. Don't think it starts with an A. B. It was in the part of her hair. A. Elizabeth. Elizabeth? Oh, with a Z? Oh no. See, that's what I'm talking about with the spelling being tough. I think it was with a was it with a Z or an S? There's another one. Something's telling me I should go with the Z, and maybe that's based on nothing. All right, looking at these other pictures here, I'm pretty sure that I didn't have these other names, or I would have remembered or recognized them. So we're gonna see how we did. What? First of all, it was with a Z. Nailed it. I've reached level 8. What? I got exactly 12. What? Okay. So, when you're not feeling good, make sure that you still practice because you may just somehow do better than when you are feeling good. And that's crazy. Okay. So, now my best is 12 names in a single minute that I'm able to recall. And that goes for spelling too, because let's not forget that that is sometimes the difference between making progress and not making progress on Memory League is you have to spell the names right. So I could have remembered 12 names verbally in the past, maybe. But now, 100% spelling and name, got it. That is awesome. Okay. So, what a positive thing to end on. I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I'm going to write down that I was able to get 12 today. I try and track my progress in my own spreadsheet so that I remember that I am getting better from day to day and that I don't get into a slump of just thinking, oh, I've been doing this so much and I'm just not seeing progress. We're basing progress on actual data. So, you guys have a good night. I will see you next time.